Hi guys, I'm Bri.
And I'm Alli. This is Offscript.
If you think about it, books are potential scripts for movies.
When this adaptation happens, typically it's disappointing because they went off script.
In this series, we will be talking about how off script they went. Oh, check.
Check.
I gotta keep that one in there.
Hello. And hi guys.
Welcome
to Offscript,
a podcast
where we compare the book to its movie.
I'm Bri.
I'm Alli.
Today we are comparing Under the Bridge, picked by Sierra, and this was picked probably like a year ago or more. And then when listener picks came up, Sierra was like, where the hell is my episode? Because she went through and saw all of our screenshots and did not see Under the Bridge on there. And I literally responded with, what pick? And then she said, and I was like, damn it, I knew that, but we're gone.
Yes. Well, yeah, it's a true crime.
Hell yeah. Guys, it's the true crime I freaking wanted in my birthday month last year.
Instead of
All Be Gone in the Dark.
Yeah.
Do you see now how I kept saying like that I wanted, I wanted the true crime, but I wanted it in story form?
Yes.
This is what I meant.
Yes.
This was perfect.
I 100% understand.
Yeah.
Because I always was confused. True crime is still not my favorite because it's just sad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I never got it, especially when we did I'll Be Gone in the Dark, because I was like, my favorite murder, I listened to it with her and I enjoy it. But I'm like, maybe I just think the hosts are funny and it's not the
story
content. Yeah. So then we started this one and I watched it first. We're jumping ahead. Do we just want to do all this and then get to that?
I guess, yeah. Let's do it.
I mean, we don't have to. What should we do?
We probably should. Okay. Otherwise we might forget.
Okay. Wait, we'll forget what we were saying?
We'll forget to do this. Okay. Now I'm worried we'll forget what we're saying. But
probably. I think it comes up in one of the things.
Yeah.
We're professionals over here, guys. So our picture.
Yeah.
We're in our new studio.
Yeah.
Which is your apartment.
It is my apartment. It's crazy.
It's so exciting.
Except for it's like half moved into.
That's okay. The moment.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
It's so fun. I'll post a picture of our setup.
Yeah. It's cute.
So it's very cute. That's all I got.
Yep. That's a good picture.
Okay. So there are trigger warnings. Was one. It's about a murder.
There are trigger warnings.
There definitely is one.
Yes.
It is murder of a 14-year-old girl. So like we said, true crime. So this is a true story. So if you
cannot handle it,
understand, come back and listen to a different episode. So our synopsis is, as I just said, a true story about the 1997 murder of Reena Virk and the investigation that followed.
Yeah.
Our author is Rebecca Godfrey. Creator Quinn Shepard. There are 6 directors because this is a miniseries. And there are 7 screenplay writers. And the audiobook reader was Erin Moon.
How'd she do?
She did really good. I was trying to remember. She did good. She did great. She was one that her voice didn't change entirely. Like it changed for each character, but not
obviously
not like, oh my gosh, you're a voice actor type of change, but enough that it was it almost made me
more invested.
Yeah. And forget that, know the different characters and she did very good.
Nice.
She's the one who did the interview with her at the end.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. So the book came out in 2005, which you read.
Yes.
The audiobook, which I listened to, came out in 2019.
Oh.
So it had a whole extra chapter of where they are now.
Oh.
It was so cool. So I made note of that.
Good, because I did not get that.
I know. That's why I was wondering when you're it ended at the trials. I was like, what are you talking about? I still have freaking 2 hours left of the book.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, you said that too. And I was like, because when the book ended, I was shocked because I felt like there was a clear ending for it, but then it went deeper into the trials. And I was like, oh, and there's still a good chunk of it. So then I was like, oh, maybe that's just where she's at with that. But I was like, that did not take me 2 hours to read.
Well, one of the hours was the interview.
Yeah.
But it was a whole extra hour of what was
cool
in the thing. And so that's a 19-year difference. Oh, show came out April 17th, 2024. So it's brand new, you guys. That's a 19-year difference. And what'd you do first?
I read it first.
I watched it first.
Man. So I kind of went into this one. Well, actually, no, here's my full story. Okay. So Sierra told me to watch this because she knows that I love true crime. Then she found out it was a book and she was like, you have to cover it on Offscript. And I was like, got it. It's on the list. Didn't even think about scheduling.
It's on our 10-year wait list.
Yeah. And I was like, it's true crime. Allie's not going to like it. So then when Sierra told us to do it, because Sierra watches a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies. And so Sierra's always told me to watch things and I'm never watching them. I always feel bad because I'm like, she knows me. And every time I do end up watching a show she recommends, I love it. And I'm like, why didn't I watch this sooner? But I just don't have the time. And so when it was time to read this one, I forgot what it was about. And I like opened it and I started reading and I was like, why does this feel like it's about to be a true crime story? And here I am also thinking it's a story.
Right.
And then I was at work when I started it and I closed the cover to do something. And then I sat there and on the cover, it says like the story of the 1997 murder. And I was like, hold on. And I texted Sierra. I was like, Sierra, is this true crime? She's like, yeah. I was like, and that's when I was like, this is what I wanted All Be Gone in the Dark to be. This is the story I wanted. I wanted to know the murder, but in story form.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Not just all the facts.
Yes.
Yes. So that's what I was going to say. This is our initial thoughts, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this is what I was going to say earlier is that I really liked it because you'll see on my videos, you guys, it starts off the first few episodes. I mean, it's all dark, but the first few episodes for sure are like, you know, these girls are just awful. And it's just, there is no happy moment. And then Reena herself is not a character that I feel bad for her.
Absolutely.
But
she was a teenager.
Yeah. She made bad choices that I'm like, well, what are you thinking? Type of like, she wasn't a character that I didn't like. She wasn't a super likable, you know, like a character that I normally have to have a character that I like to.
Yeah.
Not that she wasn't a good person. I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. Allie's not speaking ill of the dead.
I am not.
But.
So I was just like, my first few videos, you'll see her. I'm just like, I'm not happy. Like, why? I am not enjoying this. I had to not. I don't remember why, but I wasn't able to watch. I watched like 3 episodes because we're on time crunch. So I was trying to power through. And then next day I couldn't watch any. And all I could think about all day was this freaking show. I was like, gosh dang, what happens? I need to know. And I was like, I couldn't watch it. I was like, I have to go to bed.
That's amazing.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to know what happens. Oh my gosh. And so I was just like, next day I binged, I think the remainder. No, I couldn't. It was like midnight. I had to go to sleep. So it was like, I got 4 of them and then I had 1 episode left, but it was like, wow, felt good enough. Like it was conclusion sort of that I didn't, it was okay that I had
the last episode is like just wrapping everything up tidy.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, I really needed to. And then the book almost was the same where I'm like, even though I just freaking watched it.
I know the story.
I know that story. I'm just like, okay. Tyler, you want to go to McDonald's? Okay. And I send him to the play area. I put my headphones in.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
I was reading it and I was like, Allie's going to hate this. Like, I was like, this is just like All Be Gone in the Dark.
Oh man, but it wasn't at all.
It wasn't. It was because it's written in a way where every single person involved is a character and you follow them for a little bit. And she does such a good job at making you feel for the character and like know the character. I was so mad when I realized who all was really involved with the murders because it was all the people that I was like, oh, I kind of feel for you.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, why?
I will say that I think that, let's see, we're jumping to the very end now. I think that I did feel more for the characters like Reena and stuff in the book than
the show. I just think, again, I think there's things that can't translate into a show and from the written.
Yeah, I think also the show does such a good job of entertaining isn't the right word, but it is the right word, right? It's a show.
Yeah, it's dramatized.
Yes, versus the book is like that too, where it's a story, but there's also that element that it's true. Like you could go and watch the show and not know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But this book, it makes it very obvious this is a true story. And so that had it had you feel for the characters more, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I've been holding on to this one.
I know.
I was like, I can't tell her
I cannot tell her that I like it. But
dude, I was like, next episode.
That's impressive.
I know. Thanks, Sierra.
Yeah, thanks, Sierra.
Yes. So why do we pick it? Thanks, Sierra. Oh my gosh. All right. So some super fun facts. So number 1, while not officially adapted, part of Manjeet Virk's novel, Reena, A Father's Story, were used to develop this miniseries.
This is why I think, because in the book, I did not feel that Reena was as rebellious as the show portrayed her to be.
Yeah.
Like, yes, she didn't want to be Jehovah's Witness. And yes, she wanted to be like the cool kids and be a Crip and all of that. But I didn't see her like acting out. Also, they totally leave out that she reported her father.
Right.
And so like, here I am like thinking she's this sweet girl. And then once I started Googling things, I was like, oh no, that all happened.
Oh, so the father thing did happen.
Yes.
Oh.
That's in his novel.
Oh. Because yeah, all the book says is that she didn't live at home for a few days. But that's it. And so I was like, oh, what a horrible thing to fake.
Throw in there.
So,
yeah.
No, it was not fake.
Yeah.
Yikes. All right. So the showrunners worked directly with the victim, Reena Virk's father, to tell her story in the miniseries. So that's kind of the same, I guess. I just realized. But
except that makes me then wonder how the hell Kelly used it to get off.
Yeah, I think that was false. Me looking it up because in the last chapter it explains how she got off.
Okay.
And that's not what it was.
Okay. I was like,
yeah. Riley Keough and Lily Gladstone were handpicked by the author and series producer Rebecca Godfrey for their roles.
Wow, that's awesome.
Before her death. Let me see who they are.
It's her and the cop.
Oh, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Riley Keough is Rebecca. Oh. And Lily is Cam.
Oh, so she got to pick herself.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Did you know that Riley Keough is Elvis Presley's granddaughter?
I did not.
That's why Sierra watched this, because Sierra loves Elvis. Oh. And so.
Well, that's cool. The court testimonies from the teens were taken from real life trial testimonies and interrogations of the killer and attackers. So that's what my thoughts were when I was watching these kids. I was like, I bet they, watched the court cases and because I feel like they did a really good job.
Oh, I agree. I was kind of thinking that too. Because in the book, they explain how Kelly kept like slipping in and out of the British accent. And then in the show, they did it. And I was like, I almost want to watch the original testimony.
I know. I wonder if you can.
I'm sure you can.
Freaking girl is psycho.
Oh my God. I cannot believe anyone agreed to let her out.
Dude,
just based off of that.
Yes.
I am not a killer. I did not kill
Reena Virk. I'll say it till the day I die. I did not.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Freaking crazy girl. So casting auditioned over 700 girls before deciding on Virk. Veritica Gupta for the role of Reena. 700 girls.
That's crazy.
I think they picked a good one. I liked her a lot.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
I know this is a hard one where I'm almost thinking you just got to go and I'll be like,
yes, no, maybe so.
Here's how they showed it in the show.
Okay.
Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
That we should probably preface our comparison with. The book is very much so nonfiction. Whereas the show is telling you a true story, but it's a little bit more fictionalized. And so therefore it's not like where people are sitting down and like, and this is what happened. It's a story and it's showing you what happened. So there's going to be differences. Yeah. Just like, in that.
So yeah, like it starts off a quick background on the characters and what the case is about. Police are looking in the water for a body. So it tells us that there was an interview where police are looking for a body of a dead girl. They thought this was crazy because View Royal is near Victoria, BC, and they're small, safe town. But they find her underwear and clothes in the water, and eventually they find her body. And so, like we said in the show, it made this whole scene.
It like starts with kids and they're hanging out, and actually it starts with Reena's uncle picking her up and then her like storming out of his car.
Right. Oh yeah.
Which I also felt bad because in the book I felt like her uncle was her like safe haven in her like in all of her world with her parents and their views on things and her disagreeing with them. She would go to her uncle. With her friends, she would go to her uncle. So I felt kind of bad that the show kind of made them butt heads a little bit, but
right. My turn? Okay. So the book kicks off with focusing on different characters, and then it kind of dives into a story. So we kick off with Colin Jones, which I thought was funny because I was like, who the heck is Colin Jones after watching it? But is it like
Colin's the blonde pothead? Yeah.
Okay.
Which is funny because like when the book starts off with him, I thought he was going to be a much bigger role in all of this. And then he's just the person that keeps randomly getting mentioned.
Right.
Yeah.
So we learned that about Colin, who knew all about Josephine, and she was like a twisted troublemaker. So he said that Kelly always lives in her brother's shadow because her brother was like this successful football player, and he just was very like well liked in town. And was it he was well liked or he was crazy too?
No, he was well liked.
That's what I thought. Okay, but she didn't like living in his shadow, so she's kind of crazy. And Josephine went to his house one night and she's like, I need a place to stay because my mom kicked me out. And she's like, I'm staying at a group home, 7 Oaks, but they lock the doors at 11.
That doesn't like really happen. You see Colin when Josephine and Kelly first go to him after their first awkward interaction with Reena to go get pot. And after they stuff happens that happens later on in the book.
That would be a thing too, I think, is that the show all the way till the last episode does flashbacks of Reena alive. And in the book, once she's dead, she's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. And so essentially to the first like 2 or 3 episodes is the story before her death. And so there's a bunch of stuff in the first 3 episodes that happened in the book. They just happen a little bit later.
Yes.
My biggest problem here is that I was really confused because at the start of the show when Reena gets in her uncle's car, so like the cool thing to do back in 97 apparently was write Crip on your hand if you were part of the Crips. I mean, I guess I don't know if that's what they did or not because I've never been in a gang, but anyway,
the cool thing to do.
Yeah, I know. As I was saying, and I was like, nope, that might just mean you're in it. Anyways, but in the show, they changed it to the CMC, and it was so that they could be the Crip Mafia cartel.
Well, they said that in the book too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's what she wrote on her hand. They also, minor detail, but in the show, the doors locked at midnight. It's
Oh.
they locked at 11 here.
Oh, that's strange. Why did they change that?
I don't know. To make it spookier because it happened an hour later.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's weird because that's key in the actual telling of the story to give a certain someone an alibi.
Right.
Like
they had to change times all around for that.
Uh-huh.
So then the next chapter is all about Warren G. He had a really messed up childhood where he was not wanted as a kid. Like, legit, mom had her tubes tied, yet somehow he was born anyways. And so he's lived in a trailer all his life. His dad eventually moved to California, but Warren stayed in BC. His mom's a drunk somewhere, not living with him. So he's kind of living alone, and he lives in like this group home type of thing, or like with a foster parent or something like that. Not a foster home. I don't know who he... We'll get into that.
No, he just couch surfed.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then her boyfriend moved in, so he had to leave. That's what it was, right? And so he met this girl, Sarita, and they were boyfriend and girlfriend. And he always, like, he was like smitten with her real hard. And he always wore white. And he became a member of the local Crip gang, which normally wears black.
I think it's the weirdest change. And I think it's to protect Sarita. But it's weird because, like, we all know Sarita because we've read the, well, okay, not everyone's read this book, but like, you can Google it, you can find out her name, you can read this book.
Oh, she changed her name.
The name in the show is changed. It's not Sarita.
What?
Yeah.
What is it?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I thought it was the weirdest thing.
Oh.
I was like, why did they change her name and no one else's?
I know, when Kelly actually changed her name in real life.
I know.
I guess I have it on here. I guess we'll figure it out in casting.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember what it is, but I thought it was the weirdest thing.
That is weird.
And I was like, the only thing I can think of
is that she didn't want her name in there.
Oh, that could be it too. No, I was going to say, just because, like, the thing with Sarita, and I was going to say her character, but her story, this was her, like, first love.
I know. I felt so sad for her.
I know, and she did not want to believe it.
I know.
I mean, who could? And so she, throughout the whole entire process, wasn't really believing. Like, I even think up until he was in jail, she still was like, I don't think he really did it.
Yeah.
I always think she thought that it was all Kelly, that he was just wrong place, wrong time. So that's the only, like, reason I could see why, apart from her not wanting it.
Right.
But again, it's like, we can Google, we can figure out who was his girlfriend. So why make that change?
I know. That's odd.
Makes no sense to me.
I was going to say, we got interrupted because Bri's laughing at my spelling. All the local Crip gangs wear black, and Warren wanted to wear white because he wasn't evil, but he was. That's the saddest part. He's not evil. He made a
Bad decision. And the thing that kills me about this story is you never really find out what happened with him and why he did it.
I think because he doesn't even know.
I think it was just he was there. He got wrapped up in it. But but everything, I just kept I would read his chapters and be like, you sound like a nice guy. Like, why am I reading about you? And then it got to that night and I was like, oh, you kicked her. And then it got even further into that night. And I was like, oh, you did it.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, that was the night. We'll get into it. We're really bad, you guys. We have not, as you can see, we have not talked about this yet.
Yeah, so we haven't talked about this one at all.
Yes, so we're really excited. Okay, so now we're on Sarita's chapter. She was blind in her left eye, which I found interesting because I don't think that was mentioned in the show at all. Her and Warren ended up dating, and she cried. She was so excited when that happened. And it's like typical schoolgirl love. She'd like thought they would be together forever and wrote, Sarita G or whatever his last name was. And her mom really liked him, and Warren was always very respectful to her mom, and he helped clean the house. She didn't really know her dad much. Like, did she not he could not come around a lot? I didn't really understand her dad in this story. I feel like
I don't remember
a lot. Don't quote me on it.
I think he just wasn't in the picture.
Yeah.
I know that much.
And he was not respectful to women. He's like, Warren was hanging out with him one time and he's like, should we go help clean up? And he's like, oh, no, that's the women's job. And Warren felt uncomfortable about that. I was like, good job, Warren.
One thing I guess I should say is in the TV show, too, Rebecca is a character.
Oh, yeah. That's a big difference.
yeah. I was reading my notes to see. I'm like, okay, I hit that. Oh, I should say this. So, yeah. So she's coming home to write a book because she needs to write a book. And then when she's there, the investigation for Reena happens. And that then kind of leads her to write this book about Reena, which is kind of cool. I love when it's like, you know, the character's writing a book and it's obviously this book.
Exactly. Well, that's not what happened in real life. Oh, yeah, I guess I could tell you now.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of the book, there was an author interview, as I said. It was true she was from BC area.
Okay.
So she wasn't from that town specifically, or was she? If it wasn't this town, it was very, very close to this town. And I don't remember a lot from the author interview, but she had heard about this because she was in New York at the time. And people were sending it to her because this was like big news. And it's like your hometown or you're close to your hometown. And so that got her super invested in the story. So she did fly back.
Oh, wow.
And she did interview the guys and she was able to go into the juvie and the guards were like, yep, that's that one. And she said it was so surreal seeing kids be murder suspects.
Oh,
right?
I bet.
And
well, I mean, she hit hard on that in the book and the TV show also like made sure we were aware of that too.
Yeah. And so I felt like her role was pretty accurate in the show.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that she just happened to be there. Like she came in.
She's purposefully went.
Yes. After it already happened. So.
Well, the thing that I Googled and found, because in the show, she has a brother who ends up dying basically nearby, and he fell into the water. And so then I Googled to see, because then she gets tied to Warren in this like relationship because she pictures him as her brother. And so I Googled because I was like, was that fake? No, she did have a brother and he did die, but it wasn't, because in the show it's very dramatic. It's very much like they had a fight and she was like, you're so weird. No one wants to hang out with you. And like, those were the last words she said to him. And that was not the case in real life.
Yes. Yep.
But for the show, yes.
Yeah. And so, yes. I
know. I at first had a lot of notes. And then the last episode, literally, one of my biggest beefs was Rebecca's relationship with Warren. And I was like, what the hell? This is ridiculous. And then the last episode, at the end of it all, it popped up and was like, and Rebecca kept contact with Warren up until the day she died. And I was like,
that was real.
What the fuck? I had to Google some shit before I go off on things in the podcast.
I did the same. There were so many things I was like, what? And then I Googled, but if I had just listened to the freaking book, it would have answered them for me. But I was like, I need to know now. Freaking Kelly.
Yeah, that's when I realized, because that's when I found out, like, because I was really confused about that and I had to Google it and I was like, well, shit, sure enough. And then I was like, I wonder if Reena, because Reena ends up basically reporting her father to the cops saying that he's molesting her. They obviously take it very seriously, get her out of the house, make her stay at the Seven Oaks while they investigate. Her dad goes to court, yada, yada. I was like, this never happened. Reena would never do that. Because in the book that we read, it did not seem like something she would have done. Then I had to Google it and found out that in Manjeet's book, it is actually something that she did.
So I was sad.
Well, damn, kid.
But I mean,
But here's the problem. Here is the problem. She wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
She wanted to be like all of her friends. In quotations, because these were not her friends.
No.
She could have met way better people, but for some reason was stuck on these guys. Yeah. And all of these guys have come from bad pasts where things like this had happened to them. So to her, she was like, I'm going to fit in with them. My dad did this to me. I think, it's heartbreaking. Yeah. It's sad.
Was it Josephine's idea for real life? In the show it was. Did you find that out?
Oh, no, I didn't dive that deep. Okay. I just dove enough to find out that, yes, it happened.
Oh, okay.
I know. Part of me was like, damn, now I really want to read his book. But
I know.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Alli excitedly said, I know.
I kind of do. I don't have a list of other things to do. So now we get some background on the Virk family. So Reena's mother's parents were immigrants and her from India, right?
Mm-hmm.
And her father was also an immigrant. Okay, so her mother's parents and then her father.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I was like, your notes make no sense to me right now. Her father was. Okay.
It was not an arranged marriage, so there were a lot of mixed feelings from parents about this. Reena was born and life was really good. As she got older, they began to disagree a little bit, and her family was Jehovah's Witness, and she didn't want to be anymore, as we had said. This is when she met Josephine Kelly and Dusty, and they became friends like we also just said, quotes, unquote. Even though they didn't consider, oh, look, I just need to finish reading my note. Even though they didn't consider her as a friend. She listened to gangster rap and wrote crypt on her hand. And her uncle was worried about her and said, hey, I'm always here if you need to talk. And like, please stop.
Yeah.
She ended up living in the group home for a couple days before moving in with her grandparents. That's the most we get about that story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Well, I think Rebecca wanted to paint her as a victim because I think if you find out all of the bad things, it's easy to not picture her as a victim. Mm-hmm. Kind of like what Reena's mom says in the show when she's getting pissed at Rebecca for writing. She's like, if you can't see my daughter as a person,
right,
you shouldn't be writing this. Like you need to write for her, not just for the story. So I think that potentially is why we didn't get the full story. Mm-hmm. Also in the show, this part really made me upset. Her and Dusty were friends.
Yes.
They were close. And the only reason I think that's why is because in the book at the end of it all, Dusty is the only one that feels remorse.
Yeah.
And so I think because it's almost weird because Dusty was a fucked up kid. Like,
yeah, she had a messed up life.
A knife up to her niece's neck, and her niece's name was Brianna. I was like, poor Brianna. Yeah, I was like, damn, girl. Almost took one of us out.
I'm okay.
And so, like, she was a rough kid, but then she's the only one that feels remorse. And I think, like, obviously people can have a big change of heart, but I think for the show's purpose and for everything that happens over the course of the show, it made more sense for her to actually be friends with Reena.
Yeah. Sorry, you finished.
No, you go ahead.
I was like, it makes sense in real life because she had years. Well, she has even more remorse, like in the last chapter from the show.
Yeah.
From the book that is sort of in the show.
Yeah.
But that's because it's, however many years, right?
Years later. Plus, didn't she have children? And like after she had children, she started to really feel even more remorse.
Which they couldn't show in the show because it stopped pretty much after the trial. And so that I feel like it would have felt fake almost to be like, oh, she really hated Reena.
And now she feels remorse?
It would be like, yeah, you're just saying that to get out of it. Versus like, it makes sense in real life because it's years and years and years. But yeah, I was utterly shocked when I read it and I was like, oh, she really hated, like she hated her almost the most.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like in reading it, Rebecca wrote it in such a way where I did not think Kelly did it. I was like, no way in hell. I was like, it's gotta be Dusty. And then I kept reading and I was like, oh, it's Kelly?
I didn't, watching it first, I didn't think it, like, the episode ends where Kelly opens the closet or someone, Josephine, and the shoes are there and they were Reena's shoes. And she's like, I did it for you. I'm like, nah, this girl crazy. What did she really do? Like, I'm like, she's psycho, but
she's not that psycho.
Yeah. And then the next episode is like, you did it? And she's like, yes, I did it for you. I was like, wait.
And you're like, oh, you did it. There's a difference too, because they actually threw away her shoes.
Yes.
Josephine threw away her shoes.
Yep. Yes. All right. So Kelly just wasn't a jealous person. She just never got jealous because she has no soul. And so she never got jealous of Josephine for Josephine being prettier or better or whatever. Josephine would steal cars and she went to parties and she's like, everyone wants to meet me. I'm just like the best there ever is. She kind of felt like that in the show. So then here's Dusty's story. As we kind of already said, she got kicked out of her mom's house. So she lived with her sister. She's in love with this guy named Jack. After she moved away, she found out Reena was dating Jack.
Oh, yeah, Jack was not in the show.
No, he was not.
I forgot about that.
That's because they wouldn't be able to have them best friends.
Yeah, exactly. No. Especially, this part just...
So, yeah, Reena's dating Jack.
All of this really just pisses me off when you find out that, like, everything's he said, she said. Because it's like, I know I was a dumb kid who, at that age, would have believed everything I saw at face value, too. But it's like, if you just took, like, 2 seconds to, like, hey, Reena, are you dating Jack? Or,
right.
Hey, Josephine. Like, so much could have not happened.
Right.
But they were kids.
They're 14. So she had her friend call her up and threaten Reena. And then eventually her sisters...
It's just stupid kid shit,
I know.
man. All I could think when, like, it was talking about, like, Reena steals Josephine's little phone book and is calling everyone. I was like, shit, I used to, like, not call to talk shit on other people, but I would call and, like, your refrigerator's running.
I know. We were a much different childhood than these girls.
Yeah.
So this is where we said, eventually her sister's kid asked their mom not to go to work anymore because they're scared about what Dusty's going to do. And at one point,
because she put a knife to Brianna's neck.
Yep. And so her sister finally kicked her out.
Her sister had hope for her, and I thought that was really sad.
I know.
I was like, oh, and even at the end, her sister was like one of the people that was actually there for Dusty.
Yep. So Warren did not join a foster family. He was couch surfing, as we have figured out. And things are going well. She's like, hey, can you bring Sarita over so they can be role models? Because were there a couple other kids that she knew there?
Because I think what it was like a single mom.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh, wait.
That's why I thought it was foster. But she wouldn't kicked out if it was foster.
I was going to say, I don't think it was a foster family. I can't remember. I think this was a school thing where they got asked because it was a school thing. It was the counselor.
Oh.
The counselor really wanted Warren and Sarita to go talk to other kids to show what a good, like, couple looked like.
Oh, so sweet.
Mm-hmm. This is why I never in a million years pictured that he was going to be a part of it.
I know. So he's still big in the crypt, and then what?
You keep saying crypt too. It's crip.
Oh, really? That's why it's probably like that every time. You guys, I'm not gang savvy here. Crypt. We should make a gang.
We in the crypt now.
We should make a gang, and then we just paint our faces white, and we're just like Draculas, and we live in the crypt.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. Oh no. Well, Great. So one day, Grace, who he was couch surfing with, had to kick him out because her own kid came back and there wasn't room for him. And he understood. He wasn't upset about it. He's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Was it her? I thought it was her husband.
Maybe it was her like boyfriend or something.
Or actually, no, that's what it was. It was her boyfriend was wanting to move in.
Okay.
But him moving in meant no space for Warren because her kid lived there. It was his friend's mom.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That all good? That kind of happened? Did that happen? I don't remember that happened.
Warren did not couch surf.
He lived in like a trailer.
Yeah.
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 By himself.
It didn't really show his parents much. Yeah. And show how bad of a... It really didn't show his past very well.
No.
Or his whole story very well.
Unfortunately.
But I think again, for TV show purposes, they had to show it in a way where you were unsuspecting of him. Because in a TV show, if they show you this character and they keep bringing him up, you know he's going to be a part of it.
Right.
Whereas in the book, you're reading it and you're just like, oh, you're just a kid that probably was there and witnessed it.
Yeah.
So I think they just had to make it not obvious for the show.
Makes sense. So Josephine got phone calls over 3 days of people telling her that Reena had told them she had AIDS, she isn't pretty, all this bad stuff.
Except for it wasn't just Reena. It was because a lot of people couldn't know. They didn't know Reena, so they didn't know her name. So it was always like Tina or...
Yeah. Starts with an R. Or, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rita.
Yes. So she's pissed. And now Kelly's pissed because Josephine's like her idol. And she's currently at Seven Oaks, and Dusty's on her way to live there too.
We only see Reena. Well, actually, okay. So first episode, we see Reena call one person and tell him that Josephine has AIDS. And then in a different episode, we see her in the bathroom making all the calls.
Mm-hmm. So we have a little background on Reena's grandfather, and he moved to Canada, and how his life is good.
Oh, I should just talk about this really fast. In the show, Josephine becomes buddy with Rebecca to like,
yes.
She's like, I'll tell you the whole story, but you have to take me to New York. Because, oh, you haven't mentioned Josephine is obsessed with the mafia. Mm-hmm. And so she wants to be in New York so she can be a part of the mafia.
And now seeing as the author interview happened in 2019, and this came out in 2024 after she had already died.
Mm-hmm.
That was not brought up in the interview, so I don't know if that's true or not.
Yep.
I would assume not.
Probably not.
So then we have details on other schools, and they hate Shoreline. They think Shoreline are the horror line, so, which is where Rita and all of them are at.
Mm-hmm. Reena?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Dude, so Rita, and then sometimes they would call her Rita. Confused me so bad. Probably was easier reading that one than audio. I was like, wait, what?
Who am I reading about?
Yep. See then, okay. That's why I said it too, because he messed up her name right here.
Yeah.
So Colin kept getting this phone call over and over from this girl named he believed Rita. And he's like, I don't even know who that is. But apparently she has a huge crush on him and wouldn't leave him alone. And he already had a girlfriend, so he's feeling awkward. And finally he's like, fine, I'll meet up with you. But he was not planning on going. I don't think that was in the show at all.
No, it's not. The next time Colin's in the show is because freaking Reena's uncle. Here's the thing. And obviously, again, the book could have been downplaying all of this, but freaking Reena's family threw fits in the show. Whereas when I read it in the book, they weren't throwing fits. So she's missing for the first 48 hours. And of course, it's still a fucking problem today and it blows my mind. But you go to the cops and they tell you, especially if it's a female, they'll tell you that they're just running away. This is what they do. They go be prostitutes.
Thanks.
Pisses me off. Every time I'm listening to My Favorite Murder and story comes up like this and I hear this part, I'm like, if the cops would just pay attention.
Lives could be saved.
How many times? Anyways. And so basically in the book, they kept going to the cops and the cops were like, this is a girl who lives in Seven Oaks or has lived in Seven Oaks. Like, this is what they do. They just run away. Like, this is not her first time running away, right? And they're like, she did it one other time. This is not like her. And they're like, no, this is exactly like her.
Yeah.
Whatever. In the show, Uncle went and freaking threw a fit and was like, you need to check on that Connor kid, because one of the last times he hung out with her, she had mentioned Connor. And so then the cops go to Connor,
So
which is hilarious. I was just going to say, yep, they changed his name.
Wow. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. That's a weird one, too.
Right. And it's so close. What's the point?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Colin to Connor? Weird. So Reena's waiting for Colin, but he isn't showing up. Warren got kicked out, and Sarita asked her mom if he could live with them, and she's like, no, honey, I'm sorry. So Sarita's super worried that she's going to lose him, either because he's going to break up with her or he's going to move back down to California or whatever it is. Josephine and Colin talk, and he's like, why were you giving my number out? And she's like, I didn't, but don't worry, you won't be hearing from her for much longer. And Reena gave her counselor a friendship ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's such a good friend to her, and she helped her so much.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't happen in the show.
No, she didn't really have a counselor in the show.
No. She's just, again, it's kind of, in the show, she's not so much as painted as like just a strict victim. She's a kid. She's actually a character with more depth and detail to her.
Right.
So I think if you give her although I mean, everyone should already feel bad for her, but
I know.
if you give her a counselor like that, people would immediately feel bad.
Yeah.
Plus, here's another thing. She has friends in the show. These girls are, because Josephine at some point ends up being very friendly with her. Dusty's very friendly with her.
Mm-hmm.
The only one who is never friendly with her is Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
So she technically does have her group of people in the show. So it'd be just a little bit confusing. Like, why are you going to this counselor? Because she's really just going to the counselor because she doesn't feel like she's...
That's friends.
Yeah.
So Josephine's mom shared how Josephine said she didn't want to go to school one day, and she didn't want to deal with her in a fight and everything. So she's like, fine. And she called and had her stay home. And Josephine just laid on the couch for several hours talking to Kelly on the phone about killing this girl, Rhea. And at first she thought she was joking, but she couldn't tell, but she could tell there was hostility towards this person. And they talked about digging a grave and pushing her in and burying her alive.
This does happen in the show. I was actually surprised, but it's not as like obvious as.
And it's Kelly's mom, because
oh yeah,
Josephine's mom is not
present
in the picture.
Yep. I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah. And I was like, what the? If my daughter's talking about killing someone, do something.
Backhand her. Yeah, I know. I'm like, both of these parents.
Even if it's joking. Like, you don't joke like that.
No.
And she clearly was not joking.
No. Well, especially because in the TV show, they only say it once. In the book, the mom explains that it was said in multiple different ways. It was like,
hours.
Oh, maybe we should do it this way. Oh, maybe this way. Like, what mom's sitting there just listening like, my daughter is trying to kill someone. Like, the fuck?
Psycho. But she wouldn't do it. Not my little girl.
Never.
I'm like, yes, my girl. Man, I'd probably get... No way. So... Kelly was at school, and she's talking to Josephine on the phone, and a girl overhears her but didn't think much of it. And after a bit, she went up to a couple other girls, and she's like, hey, you want to help beat someone up? And they agreed, but said most of the time nothing happens when she asks us to do stuff like that.
Okay, I got notes.
Okay.
Because I just keep talking based off of my memory. I haven't really been looking at my notes. We've been doing good. I've got a lot of my notes already said, but I'm just going to say these two things. First off, when they start investigating, at first they bring all the kids in, but then they find CCTV footage, which also I'm like, this was in 97. I don't even think, like, I know there were obviously probably some cameras around, but I don't think there would be cameras where these kids were, because why didn't we hear about that in the book? But anyway, so these kids get brought in, but then they get let go because they realize they have footage of Reena leaving the group of kids, because they see them all go down where Reena gets very badly beat up. And then they see Reena leaving and they're like, oh, she's fine. Which I'm like, that also blows my mind. I'm like, the cops are just okay with her getting beat up.
Right.
Okay, cool. But then, so at the start of the book, very, very, very start, when they're looking for the body, the guy that we're following makes it very clear that they got in the water at like 11 a.m. It's about to be 1 in the afternoon. Like, this is the time frame. He's like, it's been a long time. There's probably not a body, but we also have to be thorough because what if there is a body? In the TV show, they find our body in the middle of the night. Yeah. What? Okay.
All right. So there's details on this. Yeah.
I will also say the TV show. One of my notes literally says not introducing all players from the start, slowly adding more characters in because they didn't want to overload you.
Right.
Because fucking 8 people. 8 people beat this girl up. And then 2 of them killed her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think they wanted to overload us. They wanted us to just know that, like, you know, the 5 main involved.
Yes. So we have details on Seven Oaks, and they keep records of when the girls enter and what they are doing and how they look. And this provided Dusty a very good alibi. But in the end, it provided Josephine an alibi in the show.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Okay, rude.
Sorry.
Seven Oaks keeping...
Oh, yeah. That was for Josephine.
Yes.
For sure.
All right, so Reena got invited to this party that she originally wasn't invited to. And she got super excited. She left and promised she'd be home by 10. And that same night, Reena was killed. And there was the Russian satellite that exploded in the air. And that's what that night is known as. Whenever people talk about it, they're like, the night the Russian satellite exploded. Not the night that we helped kill Reena.
Mm-hmm. Because no one wants to admit to it. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately.
Yep.
The other thing that I'm going to say here is that in the TV show, again, this probably was in Manjeet's book, but it was not something that was mentioned in Under the Bridge. Manjeet's green card becomes an issue, and like there's like all this potential for him to get deported and stuff like that within the TV show that is not brought up in the book.
So at the party, it ended up getting kind of wild. Warren wanted to leave and not be part of the Crips anymore.
Yes. Yep.
So Warren wanted to leave and not be part of the gang anymore, but he knew he couldn't because if they found out he wanted to leave for Sarita, Love, then intervene and all that would not be good. So she's not feeling very good. And he's like, can I walk you home? And she's like, no, it's fine. And so she goes. And then this girl shows up and says hey, I'm supposed to beat someone up that starts with an R. And someone threw a rock in the school window. Reena ran. And she ran to a phone booth and calls home. And was it the phone booth in the book too? Mm-hmm. She told her brother, I'm going to be home soon. And Dusty yells, get out, and tears up her bus pass and starts freaking beating the crap out of her. And so do these other girls. Oh, no. First, they walk arm in arm like they're best friends under the bridge, and then they start beating the crap out of her.
Mm-hmm. What's funny, so the girl who shows up and is like, I'm here to beat someone up. I think her name was like Layla or something like that. And when the show started and Cam is sitting there doing the punching bag, I thought that was going to be Layla. I was like, oh, we're getting more of Layla's story rather than her just showing up, because it says how she was like, she was a girl that was very much probably involved in a bunch of gangs and was very into fighting and boxing and stuff like this. So when Cam was boxing at the start, I was like, oh, you're Layla. And then they started talking about how she's a cop. And I was like, that is not who this is.
She's like a not made up character, because there is a cop named Cam in the story, but it's a man.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, and then I guess in the TV show too, Dusty's not as involved. She's very involved, but she's not a main aggressor.
She punches her once and that she feels like guilty about it. This one, it said she punched her so much she bruised her knuckles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The other thing too that I want to make note of is Sarita's stomach hurts, just not on the night of the murder in the show. And that made me upset. I was like, that's a big difference.
Right. That's why she left.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd she leave in the show? Or she just wasn't there? No, she was there.
She was there. And then she was there far too long.
Why'd she leave?
I can't remember. But I remember it was incorrect. And I was like, and she also didn't leave when she did in the book. Or it's weird because it's not only in the book, it's in real life too. But no.
Inaccurate. So under the bridge, this huge fight broke out and Josephine's yelling about why she's trying to ruin her life and all this sort of stuff. And she put a cigarette out on her forehead and they beat the crap out of her. And Warren jumped in and kicked her even in the head, even though his friend's like, hey, this isn't our fight. Stay out of it. And one of Sarita's mutual friends was actually horrified. I think she's one of the girls that jumped in to beat up too, right? Or was it just another girl there?
Oh, no, she was just a girl there.
Okay. And so more beating happened. Everyone goes up and goes home. And they all saw Reena come up from under the bridge, though, and stagger off. So they knew she was okay. The group stole Reena's bag and threw its contents, Josephine, we said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Out by the school. Josephine and Dusty checked into Seven Oaks by 11:03. And Sarita wakes up and is just feeling nauseous and sick. And she doesn't know why. And then Warren calls her. And she's like, I'm asleep. I'll call you tomorrow.
She should have.
I know.
Taken that phone call.
I'm sure she thinks about that every day of her life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I also know that because she says in the book how she wishes that she had Warren take her home. And I was like, yep, that sucks.
That does.
I'm gonna say some of my notes because we have now reached a point where the TV show is flashing back.
Okay.
And so the girls all do a freaking blood oath to be a part of the CMC with each other. And they're literally cutting their hands and shaking. Mm-hmm. And then this was one that got me. And of course, I guess we don't know if this happened in Manjeet's book, but it did not happen in this one. And it did not seem like something that would have happened. The girls, like, Reena very excitedly invites all the girls over for dinner because she thinks if her parents meet the girls, her parents will understand why she likes her friends and yada, yada. But then they end up coming and it's a shit show and all the girls are stealing from Reena's parents.
I feel like that has to be in his book. Like if he worked closely.
That's true.
So I feel like that was true, but we're not comparing that book. We're comparing Under the Bridge. We're
comparing Under the Bridge. And so we see this whole scene where the girls are stealing from the family. They let Reena's bird out of its cage. And then obviously it has to because that's the same episode where Manjeet gets arrested for the claims.
That's probably his whole episode. Like that's probably his book's episode.
Yeah.
If he worked closely, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. It was not in this book. A biker saw Reena's jacket and just assumed this party went on, and that's where he's lost his jackets when he was young, and he hung it on the fence, and a couple saw it and recognized it as their nephew's that was stolen a couple weeks ago. So they went to go get it, but then they saw a jogger had taken it, tracked down the jogger, and she got it, put it in her car. It was soaking wet, and she noticed there was a little bit of blood on it, so she washed it, and that was the jacket that Reena got from Jake, which is why Dusty punched her so hard. Her knuckles were bruised.
Let me ask you this, because you are not someone who loves true crime. You find a jacket with blood on it, and you think it's your friend's kids or whatever, and it's just a little bit of blood. What do? Because me, every time I read stories like this, I'm like, who the fuck are you? And what rock do you live under? You should turn that in right away.
I would not turn it in.
Yeah. Would you
Well,
you wouldn't even call the cops or anything.
I wouldn't. Like, in my brain, me going to the cops and be like, I found this jacket and there's blood on it. The cops are going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, unless they have a case going, I feel like they wouldn't do anything. What are they going to do with it?
I mean, I guess that's true. That's a fair point.
Because I don't think they're going to pay for resources to test blood when they don't have a case that is needing it. I don't know. If I knew there was a case going on.
But I mean, they don't even know that. They don't. With them. Yeah. I guess that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Because to me, I'm just like, because this happened. I mean, Sarita was told by Warren to wash his pants. Yeah. So that's why she did that. But there were like 3 things in this where I was like, that was obstructing evidence. And you just did it willy-nilly.
I would do it willy-nilly. Don't invite me to a crime scene.
Yeah, shit. No, my favorite. Okay, it's not really my favorite. It always makes me go, what the fuck? When I'm listening to My Favorite Murder. And they explain how a lot of the evidence that would be like the linchpin in getting someone convicted for a murder is unusable because of a cop from the crime scene. There have been times where cops will handle things without gloves.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Or they'll just come in and mess up the crime scene.
Well, you're supposed to be trained on that, sir and ma'am.
Yeah. No, a lot of it is just lazy.
Yeah.
Laziness. And I'm like, dude.
So dumb.
You're why people get off.
All right. Good?
Yes. Okay. My next thing is about Kelly's drawing. Do you?
Yeah, I talked about it.
All right, good.
Okay, so there's a witness that saw this cute girl, and because that didn't happen, right? The jacket. No, that didn't happen.
No, the old lady with the jacket washing it. No.
Okay. There was a witness that said he saw this cute girl and she's trying to flirt with him, or he's trying to flirt with her. And she's saying something about murdering someone, and they held her head under the water and it read, stuff came up, and she just kind of was freaking out. But I didn't really understand what she was saying because I was just trying to flirt with her. And he doesn't really remember her name. And he remembered she had a stud in her nose, and Kelly has a stud in her nose. I found it interesting that she was freaking out and admitted to that right there. That didn't seem like something she would do, especially when everyone else said she was so proud of what she did. Like, they're like, yeah, she seemed really, like Warren had said, yeah, she smiled and was like proud of it.
Proud.
So why would she then go freak out to a stranger?
That's actually a good point. I never thought of that.
That chapter really confused me because this did not happen in the show either.
No, it did not. This dude, because he was one of the key witnesses in their trials. That's a good point. I never thought of. To me, I just kind of thought like
it was a breakdown moment.
Like a holy shit, I just did this, but also like, look at what I'm capable of.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought it was weird. So Sarita confronted Warren because her friend had told her what happened, and he admitted, like, he said, yeah, I did that and all this sort of stuff. And then as he's like, I gotta tell you more. And there's this rap song playing, and it said, like, what is it? 180 something.
187?
187.
108.
I think it's 187. He's like, that. She's like, what? That. And it's like basically 187 means murder in rap lingo.
I never would have fucking known.
Crip lingo.
I know. when although what's funny is I'm pretty sure the show plays the song during this scene. And so like the words literally say stuff about murder and then like 187. Murder. Yeah. But I was like, in my head, it didn't say that. It just was saying the numbers. And I was like, I never would have known.
I know.
Then I heard the song and I was like, oh, no, it's
pretty obvious, when you hear the song. And he says he doesn't know why he did it. He asked her to watch his clothes, and she saw some mud on it, or a lot of mud and some blood. And then we get to Rita's uncle, Raj, and he said something fell off because they were supposed to hang out that morning, but she wasn't there, and she always calls, and that's when he submitted his missing person report.
Well, the sad thing, too, was the reason they were meeting up was because she was supposed to go buy a teddy bear for the little girl that she babysat.
I know, it was so cute.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's really sweet that her uncle was going to go take her for that.
I know.
So her uncle is the one that went to the cops and was like, my niece is missing.
It seemed a lot more chill in the book.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The whole family to me was way more chill in the book than they were in the show. And again, maybe that's Manjeet's story. Mm-hmm. And also they could have been not wanting to portray them. But like there were things in the book that the parents or the grandparents did where I was like, if I were in your shoes, I would not have. Like they were all very understanding of certain people in their situations, and like they would go and hug the people who were crying, and I'm like, these are people involved in the murder of your daughter and you're going and hugging them?
I know, there's no way.
Yeah, but yes, the rest of that with Sarita does happen.
Yes. Okay. So everyone who wasn't under the bridge is trying to figure out what happened, and everyone who was there is trying to keep it on the down low.
That pretty much happens.
So there's a new girl in Seven Oaks,
Nadia.
Okay. She made sure her sister got into foster care.
I'm so glad. One of my first notes is there's no Nadia and Anya. And I forgot who they were. So me sitting here reading, I was like, who the fuck are they? But these girls are like, if it were not for these girls, I don't think they would have figured anything out because the cops weren't doing shit.
These are like main. Yeah, they needed these girls. I was shocked they weren't in it. So Nadia made sure her little sister was taken care of, and she just went to Seven Oaks, and immediately Josephine starts telling her she hates Reena. And they beat her up, and Josephine said how her friend just called her and said she's dead. And Nadia's like, what the? Great, good for you.
But then oh, no. I don't cover the book. Why am I trying to cover the book?
They come back. Surprise, surprise. They're back. All right, but first, Josephine and Kelly talk to their principal asking if they have the newspaper because they're worried about Reena because she's not here at school. And they fed her twisted stories like the principal. So they're like, I don't know, maybe she ran away. And then Kelly's like, maybe she's floating in the river. And then she's like, maybe she killed herself in the river. It's like,
I know. I'm like, why the fuck? Why give yourself away that easily?
And so they were giving her half truths. She could tell for sure these girls did not like Reena, and they were confused because the paper had not said anything about a missing body yet. So they're like, what the heck?
Yeah, this doesn't happen, but Josephine is at Seven Oaks and she asks Seven Oaks like front desk for the paper when Rebecca is coming in to like see if she can talk to the girls. And this is how Rebecca and Josephine become buddy.
Yep. So Kelly is talking to the principal about her anger problems. She might need to go on parole because this girl that got beat up and people think that she was involved. And she's like, I know I have anger issues because punching a punching bag just doesn't do it. I just need to punch people. And then she punches her hand and she's transferred to a different school, even though her parents claim that she left voluntarily. What the? Oh my gosh.
It's the, I don't want to believe that my kid could do any harm or any bad.
They're the problem.
Or any wrong. Yeah, this doesn't happen.
The punching thing was brought up in the trial. But I think
she did it once, but literally Kelly in the show is such a like, she's a behind the scenes character up until you're like, oh shit, you did it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, she's everywhere.
Yep. So, like I didn't even really notice her until the shoes in the closet. So Rita went up to Kelly and Warren and went up to Warren and Kelly and Warren are talking, but they stop. And she kind of snaps at them. It's like, fine, keep your secrets, whatever. And Warren chases her down and they went back to her place. And there he told her what happened. So that's where he full on told her about all the murder and everything.
I don't think he tells her about the murder in the show, does he? He tells Rebecca.
He all he does is the
187. Okay. Well, there's a difference.
No. Okay. He tells her at some point because that's how she tells the cops everything.
Oh, duh. Yeah.
But we don't see it.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing that I'm going to make mention of here is when Josephine opens Kelly's closet and there's the shoes right there. Dusty freaks out. So then Josephine's like, oh no, if we don't do something about her, she's going to tell. So then they go and try to kill Dusty. But then Josephine last minute freaks out. Yeah, this part I was like,
what the
excuse
heck?
you.
That
I
was
was like, what?
total made up. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Nadia and her sister hung out, and Nadia told her younger sister everything about Josephine. And younger sister, what was her name?
Anya.
Anya is like, why haven't you told the cops yet? We need to go tell the cops. She's like,
I was like, good for you. Because why is the younger sister
I know, she's like 13. Nadia, I think, is like 16 or something like that, right? And she's like, well, what if it's not true? Like, and they've had, haven't had great relationship with the cops.
Yeah.
You know, they're not great girls, but they're not bad either.
But Nadia called Reena's parents and was like, hey, is Reena there?
Oh, yeah.
Because she wasn't believing it. But then when Reena wasn't there, she was like, oh, maybe. So then she went to Anya and told her. And she was like, well, then let's call again. So they call again. And again, they're like, no, Reena's not home. So then she's like, we got to go to the cops.
Yeah. And so once the cops realized that this was a missing person that never came home, the case was turned into possible homicide. That didn't happen.
No. Yeah. Like, yes, when it was first brought to the cops didn't believe it. And then it took them going and talking to Connor.
Do you know how pissed I'd be? I'd be like, this is a show where I helped get this started and you cut me out of it.
Yeah.
Man. Like, only excuse would be that they didn't want to be in it.
Yeah, and that's possible.
That is possible.
It's possible, especially since a lot of the people who are involved got out.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. So the cops came to talk to Dusty, and Dusty went and told Josephine that she made up this lie about where she was, and she tried to act tough, saying jail's cool, so no big deal. But when Josephine left the room, Dusty starts really freaking out. She went off on Josephine about not to brag about murdering someone. And Dusty didn't understand because Reena just got punched. Like, what happened? How did this happen? And Josephine's getting real pissed because Dusty's like, won't stop crying now.
Well, I guess this is probably
The scene.
how they were like, okay, we can do this scene where they go and try and kill Dusty.
Yeah, I guess so. So Nadia and Anya met with Josephine, and Anya is like trying to convinces her to tell her everything. They met under the bridge, and she even showed her where it all happened and how where she got drugged to be killed and all this sort of stuff. And after they met the cops again, she's like, I'll wear a wire and get her to confess everything. And the cops are like, no, which pissed her off because she's like, I don't understand why they wouldn't take me up on this.
I don't get why they didn't either. Especially since these girls were fucking confessing left and right to everyone.
I know. My gosh.
I was like, wow, you think you're so cool killing someone.
Right.
And then Josephine's like, oh, no, I wasn't involved.
Yeah.
I only beat her up.
So a detective got involved, and they couldn't do a helicopter because the president was in town because of Apex. Is that what it was?
I don't think it was APEC. I can't remember what it was. I know it was Bill Clinton.
Right, but it was like all the leaders of the nations were in this town in BC. So they didn't have helicopters. So they decided to start by walking around asking questions. And he questioned this girl, Maya, and Maya's mom found out at some of the details about this missing person. And she's like, you will tell them everything immediately. Good job, Maya mom. Mm-hmm. And Maya said she saw 3 people go into the bridge, but only 2 people walked out.
Well, it's because Maya was super close with Josephine. Like, literally, the cops showed up and Maya was hanging out with Josephine.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when the cops, like, talked to the mom. Was like, hey, son. She was like, the rest of you get out of here. Maya talked to the cops.
Yep. And so,
Maya is not in the show.
She's not. So she's not one of the ones that beat her up, too. Or was she? I thought she was.
I mean, I don't know. They don't name anyone in the show who wasn't
The main.
Kelly, Dusty, Josephine.
Okay.
Warren.
So the cops were on the field where all these kids usually hang out, and they're questioning everybody. So Rita's kind of freaking out, and she's trying to find Warren, and she can't find him anywhere. She ends up leaving with her friends, and then she sees Warren getting arrested, and she flips out.
Warren gets arrested at like a prom dance.
Oh, yeah.
I was so bummed. I wanted to see this Because could you imagine, like, the place to hang out is your school field, and you pull up to your school field thinking, like, cool, I'm going to see my boyfriend. But instead you see like 30 cops interviewing a bunch of different people.
Yeah. It'd be so intimidating. And yes.
They could have made a really good scene out of that. But instead they did it out of prom.
Why not? Yeah. So it was insane at the police station. All these parents are freaking out and all these kids are freaking out. A cop is interviewing Kelly and she's just pissed, yelling and cursing and cussing and throwing stuff. And her mom's just sitting there silently, not doing anything. Because what the and one of the cops said it's so weird seeing this many kids involved in a murder case. And the cops begin to start searching the waters because they realize, oh yeah, it probably is.
That happens just at the start.
And so the cops has Sarita and he's asking her questions. She shares everything that Warren had told her because he did a very good job. Said later that this was the perfect interview because he got her to share everything without baiting her. And so
this is why, guys, always have a lawyer present, even if you're innocent, because cops unfortunately just want to pin it on someone. I don't want to say it that way because I do like to believe that they are trying to find the right person, but at the same time, if all of their evidence is pointing to you, they will ask you questions to get you to confess.
Yeah.
Without you even realizing it. And I saw it so many times in this book. I was like, if you had been smart, kid, especially since these are all kids.
I know.
That they're interviewing. And so, yes, they're tired. They want to go home. They don't want to be in this room. But yeah.
Yep. So after the interview, she just starts crying and says she wants to see her boyfriend again. And like, this shocked them all. Like, you just said he murdered someone and you want to see him. And so the 7 of them that were under the bridge were able to get lawyers except for Warren. Oh, wait. He's number 8 that didn't.
Can I say really quick, though, that Sarita was interviewed before Warren got to the prom? So it's not after he was arrested. Yeah. It was before he was arrested. It was kind of there like, oh, yep, we have to arrest him.
Because Rebecca at this point in the show was like, he's innocent. I'm going to help him hide. And you guys can't find him.
Yeah. And went and did freaking LSD with him. Acid.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm so good with drugs, guys. I know their names.
So Warren didn't have his lawyer and he called his dad and his dad's like, okay, let me talk to the cops. And he's like, I can't come to you because my paperwork, my passports and stuff aren't, because now he's in America. I can't travel outside the country yet. So the cops are now trying to get Josephine to talk, but she's not talking because she ain't no rat. And she let her friends know that, or she let them know that her friends aren't going to talk either because we are on the same code. And then we get to Kelly and she blamed everything on Josephine. And she denied she was involved at all.
This happens in the show.
Yes. She's psycho. So police investigation is talking with Warren. Wait. Police investigator is talking with Warren. They played bad cop, good cop to get him to talk. And finally he said he would tell the truth once the good cop came out, like once the bad cop was done. And he wanted them to turn off the tapes and he told the full truth, but I don't think they turned off the tapes because at the end of that chapter they said then they turned off the tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't really happen.
No, because they didn't really get him to admit it until the very, very end.
Yeah. And that was because there's a very pivotal scene in the show.
Yes. So we got details on juvie, all the rumors going around about the girls. 6 of them were not allowed to talk to each other, but Kelly and Josephine whispered through, though they weren't allowed to, and they said, we'll never tell on each other. We agree. We're not rats.
One thing that was different in the show is that when they're in juvie, freaking Kelly ends up talking to her lawyers and is like, I can't be in here. I can't. It's so horrible. Whereas like in the book, I felt like she was like, I'm Queen Bee.
Yes, I
this
think
is
so.
my place. And she basically, the lawyer's like, if we can say this is a hostile environment for you, we can get you out. So then she starts picking fights with girls and stuff. And she tells Josephine that, oh, I've got a way out for us. But then it's to show Josephine even more like, hey, look, Kelly is not on your side in the show, because then Kelly gets to go away and she's like, sucks to suck.
Right. Wait, I thought you were getting both of us out.
No.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I will later.
You'll see.
All right. So the gal that picked up the jacket calls the cops because now the case is known. See, this would have been me. And she said the whole story, and the detective cut out part of the flooring because it had the jacket on it in her car, and used that as evidence.
That does not happen in the show.
Nope. They're getting ready for the court case, and all the media, like CNN and everything's there because it is Apex. Because they couldn't figure out what it was. Oh, they couldn't figure out why are these big national news teams there.
Oh, yeah.
And then Apex is in town. All the military, all the nations. And so they wanted a juicy drama case. So they came, murder case. They came over there.
Hell yeah.
So
that does not happen in the show.
No. The cops got info from the school, and they went through the kids' lockers, and they found disturbing pictures from Kelly. And Warren had a story of these characters killing each other. And then the cops went to the mall, and they found a broken perfume bottle, and they were able to figure that out.
Fucking wish, because the start of this chapter has the picture. And it was funny when I started reading it, I sat there and I looked at the picture and I was like, what in the fuck is this? And then I got to this part. So then I went back and I was like, she's one disturbed chick. It was like,
did it look like the one in the show?
No.
Why? They legit had it.
I know. I think it's because
it was too.
I think because it's such a vague piece of evidence. Whereas in the show, it was a look. She drew Reena being dead. In the actual picture is like a street with a car and like a robber with a gun, and there's a cop that's dead on the floor. I can't remember if he's beheaded or just shot, but there was like enough stuff to show blood and stuff. And I can't remember what the drawing said, but it was enough where it was the weirdest thing because, like I said, I flipped to the next page and I sat there and I was like, up until this point, it had been pictures of like the actual people involved. So then I was like, what is this drawing? Like, this is random and weird, and it has nothing to do with the murder. And then I got to this part and I was like, wow, okay, that makes sense.
That would do it. So the media lived at the bridge. So anytime anyone went there to like drop off flowers or something, they jumped on them with questions. The cops were questioning all the acquaintances of these kids, and they were told they probably would have to testify in court. Sarita was now failing all her classes, and the cops didn't understand how she could still act like this about Warren, and she just wanted to see him and never testify again.
This part doesn't really happen because like once the kids are arrested and they're certain they have who is involved, it becomes like trial the next episode.
All the forensic and autopsy details we get, and then the detective. Oh, something we didn't say that actually, when Josephine burned their cigarette on her forehead, maybe this is mentioned again in Manjeet's book. In the show, it was hardcore a racial thing because it was
because it was the dot.
What is it called? A bindi. Okay, so they made it as if it was a bindi, like right in the center of her forehead. But in the book, they just said it was like on her forehead, like above her eyebrow or something like that.
Yeah.
So do you think they were trying to make it a racial thing in the book, or do you think they were just going with that in the show?
What's funny is I didn't even think of that when I was reading it. But I unfortunately do think that probably was the case.
Yeah.
Because why else would she have burned a cigarette on her forehead apart from, just being mean? Like, I could see that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. So we get all the autopsy report, and then the detectives found Reena's diary. The cops made media message saying that they are still interviewing a lot more kids, and so more names have come up, and media is talking about all the murders and the murder. What's going on?
And again, I'm already at the trials, so you can keep going.
Okay. So there's this girl in juvie named Lily, and she wants to talk to the corrections officer right away. She shared that Kelly admitted to her in the bathroom that she held Reena's head under the water for 5 minutes, but she didn't mean to kill her. But she was super pissed. Dusty is writing love letters to Warren, and a new girl comes to juvie, and she starts crushing on Warren, which he felt uncomfortable with, and he got smuggled a letter from Sarita, and then Lily's parents sent juvie a thank you letter because Lily's turned out her life around, which in the after chapter she turned it back to bad.
Oh no,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh no. That does not happen.
Okay.
There is no Lily in the show.
Nope. Lawyers agree that Sarita is the key witness here, and unfortunately Sarita is living with her dad's family now, so they jump on a plane to go get her.
This was another thing. The trials took so long to like start in the book, whereas in the shows it was immediate.
Yeah.
So Sarita was still a kid.
Yep. The police interviewed Sarita again. She said she doesn't know anymore because it's been almost a year, if not more. And she's like, he killed someone my age. That could have been me. No, love has nothing to do with this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So the funeral and the Virk family is very sorrowful, but they held their composure. And then Suman, Reena's mom, is forgiving of the families and that did this to her daughter. But when it came time to actually burn Reena's body is when she broke down and lost it.
Yeah. In the show, Suman was just very broken right away, which was not the case.
No.
Like I said, again, who knows? Maybe she was still very angry and still as like, I don't want to say mean, but essentially mean in the show. Because when I read the book, I read too many times where she was hugging people involved in this. And I was like, that takes a lot of character.
I know.
For you to be able to go and hug these people. And like, they went to every single person's trial. And yes, their daughter is the victim. But I feel like that for some families, that would have been too much. Mm-hmm. It would have been like, okay, I'm going to go to just the one person's. And it wasn't even just to make sure that they get convicted for what it was. It was so I can be there to support the family that's getting a verdict. And I'm like, those families, if they were in your shoes, they would not be there for you. Mm-mm. Why are you there for them?
I know. Better person than me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All the results from the trial for the Shoreline 6. So we get the details. Josephine, Dusty, and someone else pled guilty, and they got time in juvie. Josephine was pissed, though, because she got a year. Lila. Josephine was pissed because she got a year, and the others only got a few months. 3 of the girls pled not guilty, but after 3 days of the trial, they were deemed guilty. Kelly was out on bail, and her family was waiting for her longer trial. Warren and Josephine were in juvie together, and someone had mentioned the case to Josephine, and Warren kind of blew up saying he didn't want to hear about it because that's all he thinks about all the time. Mm-hmm. And Josephine said it seemed like he had a conscience and he felt really bad about it. She thought it was crazy, and Kelly never seemed to care about it at all. And Warren was getting ready for his trial. Right there is like, Kelly's freaking psycho.
Yeah, if Kelly never seemed to care, whereas Warren, like, he didn't want the TV on with her trial on because he didn't want to have to think about it because he was reliving it over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. I was like, damn. Yep. This poor kid.
So Warren was given a lawyer by the state or whatever they are, Providence.
Mm-hmm.
Country.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I was like, duh, it is the state, but you're right. It's
in Canada.
Yeah.
Warren's lawyer said that they should do the trial in front of just the judge and no jury because he'll have a better chance. So that's what they did. Sarita did her portion being on the stand and felt awful. She couldn't even look at Warren. Everyone else testified. It was Warren's turn to testify. When it was time for the verdict, the courtroom was so full they had to put on speakers in the lobby. And the judge claimed that he believed Sarita was lying on the stand. Mm-hmm. And Warren was charged with 2 second-degree murder. And the Virk family, and he saw the Virk family, Warren saw the Virk family, and he finally, he realized what he had done. And his mother screamed, like, that's my son. He wouldn't do this, because now she's there.
And I'm sure I think this was one of the parts where his mom went over to console her. I was like, geez, Louise. Yeah. Her son just got convicted for killing your daughter, and you're going over to her. Yeah. This doesn't happen, and Sarita was never
blamed.
Yeah.
I was so mad at that. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, fine. Just say that he gets second-degree murder. Don't be like, I believe Sarita is lying.
No, I couldn't believe that.
Especially when she told out a witness. Truth. Like, what the heck? I mean,
she skirted around the truth. She said the truth, but she very much so... She was trying to tell Warren that she still loved him without telling him. Mm-hmm. And she was very short with everything. Yeah. But way to call out a witness.
I know. And then because of that, here's what happened to her. So Sarita's name is now all over the news. Mm-hmm. And she eventually got a good job at a nice golf club, because she was a waitress at this little burger shack. And now she's at a nice golf club waitress. And she was fired because her name was everywhere as a lover of a murderer.
Not just that, as a liar.
Yeah, that too. And Warren was sentenced to life in prison with no parole until 2004. Because when this happened in 97. Mm-hmm. And his first memory was getting a tattoo that said first love on his back in prison, because he always will love her.
Mm-hmm. And he does get first love on him. I was surprised that they actually, I was surprised they kept that in. I was like, oh, except for I don't think it was that was the thing. Because in my head, I'm picturing it's all on the top of his back. But I think it was just a little tiny shoulder tattoo. Oh. I guess here I'll say, oh wait, nope, because this is not that trial. Never mind.
Okay.
I only have one more note.
Okay.
I'm waiting for Kelly's trial.
Okay. So a cop went to see Josephine. He played her a tape of Kelly giving a statement that was that all of this was Josephine's idea. After a while, Josephine finally shared that Kelly did it and did do it. And she told her. That was really bad. Let me try that again. After a while, Josephine finally shared with the cop that, yes, Kelly did it. Kelly told me, it's her fault.
I don't think she ever says that in the show. She gets played Kelly's statement, but she's like, I'm not a rat.
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
And that drove me crazy, because in the book, she kept saying she wasn't a rat, but then she heard the tape. Then she asked for him to play it again. And then she was like, okay, here it is.
Yeah.
And then when she was leaving, she asked for it one more time. Whereas in the show, she hears it once, says, I ain't no lat, ain't no rat. And then she's like, can you play it one more time? Just because I miss her voice. And so it's not this this fucking bitch.
Yeah, right.
It's this, oh, I miss her.
I think it was, though, that she was like, I can't believe she said that. Mm-hmm. I think the I miss her voice part was a lie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she should have told.
Yeah, if she was pissed, she should have told. Yep. That would have been my undoing. I would have been like, this bitch. Yeah, let me tell you
everything she said. Yeah. From friend day number 1. All right. So now we're at Kelly's trial. Everyone told the truth about her, but her lawyers hounded them and made it seem like they were lying, and it was all their fault. And he tried to place the blame on Dusty, because she has the best lawyer in British Columbia. Mm-hmm. And Kelly acted and cried and did her British accent in and out, like Mrs. Doubtfire. And she always pled not guilty. After a very long trial, the judge deemed her guilty, but she gave her the lowest amount of years, which was 5 years.
Ridiculous.
Kelly got out and was able to get another trial. Not able to get, she got another trial. And no, she was able, because she got out because they were like, this was unfair. Let's try it again. And okay.
They appealed it.
Yeah.
Because they were like, That's bullshit. That ain't the truth. So they got it appealed.
Whatever. And while out, her and her friends beat up this other person. Like a phone, because they thought she had her phone.
I can't
remember all the details.
I just remember I was like,
you literally beat someone up as you're out waiting for a trial for you if you killed someone. So she's on house arrest until her next trial, and rumors about her childhood are going around. Her mother denied them all. No, she was a very good daughter.
The show only does one trial. And there's another difference that I'm waiting to get to.
Okay. A new lawyer took over the second trial, and they had to get Warren involved. And he didn't want to at first because he was scared about what would happen to him in prison, as well as the fact that they didn't believe him last time. So what's the point? And finally, the new lawyer and him started to have a good relationship, and she got him to agree.
So in the show, at first, Rebecca he says that the only person who will get him to testify is Rebecca. But then Rebecca's like, no, I can't go in and see him. But then Reena's mom goes and talks to him and has this very heartfelt conversation about, like, I can't even remember, but she was basically playing on emotions and was like, I need to see justice for my daughter. And that's what made Warren be like, oh, you're right, I should testify for you.
Okay. You convinced me. So this new trial began May 2004. The lawyer for the Crown hounded her very well, Kelly, and she sobbed and denied everything. I did not kill Reena Virk. Warren testified, along with many others. They all seemed more grown up because, it's been 2004, so...
97 to 2004.
Yeah. 7 years? Oh, okay. I thought you were saying 97. I was like, I know, I didn't get that far yet.
I can't do my math.
So it's been 7 years. That's a long time for these kiddos to grow up. And the trial ended up being a freaking mistrial because one juror is like, I think she's not guilty.
Yeah, that's fucking insane.
And the town was livid there was a mistrial, and everyone's pissed off at this one juror. Thank goodness they are, hidden identities.
Oh, yeah.
And they were all getting ready to have another trial.
I just want to know who the fuck thought she was not guilty.
Dude, I don't even know. Warren had gotten a note from Sarita, and he wrote back saying that he's involved in a documentary, and she watched it, and seeing him on TV was quite shocking because she hadn't seen him in 7 years. And her mom and her were talking, and she's like, I wouldn't mind seeing him again.
This does not happen in the show because they're all still kids.
Yep. And I think that was it because this is the last chapter. Yep. Okay. So that's all you got.
Yeah, I'm done. I've been done.
All right. So you haven't read this part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no.
So here's the last chapter that was not in the book.
Yeah.
So we get updates on everybody, right? Because now it's 2019. Raj, the uncle, was diagnosed with MS.
That's sad.
I know. And so he didn't drive his little yellow car anymore, but that was not because of MS. It was because he was so sad because of Reena. And Seven Oaks shut down. That happened in the show.
Oh, that happens in the show, yeah.
Nadia took a turn for the worse and is not doing well.
No.
Yeah. Maybe it was Nadia, and maybe it wasn't Lily. Maybe it was Nadia.
Like,
she's not. She's
a bad girl?
Yeah. I know.
Sad. That's why she wasn't in the show.
That's probably what it is. But thanks to her and her sister, this is why the case was even started. There was a memorial cross put at the bridge, but the cops asked Reena's dad if they could take it down because it was scaring some of the kids and they wouldn't go near the bridge.
Okay.
And Shoreline turned into a middle school.
Wow.
Yep. All the other girls went on with their lives and moved out of the town. Dusty has now 2 girls of her own, and that's really what changed her life. She said that Reena's grandmother hugged her at the trial, and she admitted that she could never hug anyone if they did that to one of her girls. So it was really impactful for her. She determined to raise her girls better than she was raised. And Reena's brother took over his uncle's car and started fixing it up. So now he has the little yellow car. Sarita now lives with her husband and 2 kids.
Cute.
So, and Josephine became stripper. I think that said that in the show.
It does.
Mr. Virk Manjit had a dream of his daughter for the first time since her death. And in 2004, Warren was denied parole. In 2005, Kelly was charged with 2nd-degree murder.
What drives me crazy is freaking Kelly got parole left and right, and Warren doesn't even get it.
Yeah.
I'm
So
like,
dumb.
and he's the one that shows remorse.
Mm-hmm. Well, now here's Kelly's life. So Kelly became pregnant in jail because she had conjugal visits with her pen pal. And people are pissed because the rules, apparently, it went into detail, said conjugal visits are only supposed to be for pre-existing relationships.
Oh.
So she should not have qualified. And then she gets pregnant. And so she tries to use this as
to get out.
I now, since becoming a mother, I understand.
Oh my God.
And yeah. 2 months into being a mom, she claims she understands. It is calmer now. She finally admitted to being involved with the murder, but she never said she did it. And
this is what blows my mind. I'm like, girl, there are 7 other people who all are saying you did it.
Right.
And you're the only one with a different story.
I know. I can't remember when this was. I think this was like 2015. So it's now been almost
20 years.
Oh my gosh.
And she's still like, but it happened this way.
Yeah, she said right here, they brought her down to the lake because they wanted to splash water on her to wake her up.
Oh my God.
And then she just died.
Oh, damn.
What the? And so people are online pissed that she's even considered for parole. Like, what the heck? And so details on how this case is still talked about today when it comes to bullying. Like, it's in like anti-bullying assemblies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Josephine left BC or Victoria, Royal Victoria. What is it? Victoria Royal? I don't know. Whatever the little island is.
I think it's Victoria Royal.
Okay. And she went strip somewhere. And she was called up because Dateline wanted to do an interview on her based on this book. And she requested this fancy hotel.
This is why the whole New York bit.
Yeah,
I bet.
probably. Fancy hotel, all this, like, it has to be set at 72 degrees and like all this sort of stuff. And she always answered the same when it's like, do you have remorse? She replied, I didn't kill her.
Oh my God.
I know. And Kelly had messaged her asking her to be a witness in her Supreme Court case. And Kelly's like, I would do it for you. And this is the first time that Josephine admitted, yeah, I felt manipulated by Kelly.
Wow.
I know. Okay. Warren. So this part is probably where the Mrs. Virk part comes in. Warren had requested to meet with the Virk family. And they had a really good meeting and they talked about reconciliation and they wished good things for him. Psychiatrists still don't even know why Warren did it because he had no mental illness. He showed no signs of someone that is capable of murder. My guess is because that was the same day he got kicked out of the house.
Yeah.
And he was just drunk. And
oh, yeah. I forgot he had been drinking.
Yeah. And he was just
a teenager who was upset and not in a good spot.
Yep. And so he spent all of his 20s in like a chiller prison because he had such good parole or such good behavior in the original scary prison. And Suman said that she'll always be there if he needs help, but you are the one who murdered my daughter and that'll never change.
Aww.
And so it was with their help, which is how he got out on parole.
Okay.
Yeah. So they gave good words to his parole officers and everyone. Okay, here we go. Kelly's final bit.
Okay.
Kelly in 2017 asked for parole again.
Oh my God.
And for a lot of the time in jail, she was addicted to crystal meth. She was aggressive and assaulted officers. She kept toothbrushes as shivs. And it's like, okay, so now 2017. So now it is 20 years later.
And this girl's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm the best. Let me out.
I have to say, the first time she asked for parole, they made mention of this. It was 2 women parole officer or women people who made the decision, and they said no. Now it's 2 men.
Oh my God.
Just gonna throw that out there. In 2015, she chilled out a little bit and she did like drug programs and she got her GED and she verbalized her shame to the board and they deemed her a low risk to reoffend.
No.
Yeah. She finally admitted her leading role in the murders. She said she drowned her and I put her in the water and I'm very sorry and she didn't deserve that. And she's on day parole and living there with her son. And she requested additional time, and it's granted.
Oh, my God.
So she's on parole right now. This crazy murderer is out.
That's insane.
Yeah. So, because these men thought, oh, she seems so sad.
Oh.
Or so remorseful.
She's remorseful.
Those women bored off. They knew.
They knew. They knew she was fucking insane.
Anyways, so it was a very enthralling last chapter.
Like, what is going on?
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that's what I got. And
Nice.
that's what you got.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do some casting.
Let's.
We got real excited about it. We thought this was going to be super fast, you guys. And it still was fast.
I mean, it was just, I think
we were super into it.
I was going to say, I didn't expect you to be into it is why I was like, oh, easy breezy. This is going to be an easy game. So instead we ended up like chit-chatting a lot.
We really did. Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
All right. Well, IMDb cast 102 people.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Lily Gladstone as Cam Bentland,
Mm-hmm.
the cop chick.
She did good. Yeah. I liked her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck. How did we say it earlier?
Yeah, we did it probably right. Vertica?
There you go. Yep.
Vertica?
Mm-hmm.
Gupta played Reena.
She was very good.
She was good.
Mm-hmm.
Chloe Gurdry played Josephine Bale.
She also was good.
She was just a
Awful.
winch.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did really good. Javon Wana Walton played Warren.
He was so cute.
He was. He looked like such the sweetest kid.
I thought they casted him great.
I agree. Izzy G played Kelly.
Dude, she was insane.
She's psycho.
Yeah, she played it very well.
She did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these characters, I'm like, what are you like in real life? Because all I can see you now is like these psychos.
These creepy kids, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ariana Goodfellow. Ayana? Oh, yeah. Played Dusty.
Yeah, she did good.
She did. For
what she was given. Yep.
Ezra Farouk Khan played Manjeet.
He was so good. I really liked him.
So cute.
Mm-hmm. I know. I felt so bad for him. Oh, the scene where like she comes back after she basically had him arrested and he's like, well, I have a freaking, what is it called? Restraining order?
Oh, yeah.
Against you, so I can't be within like so many feet of you. And she's like, I just need a change of clothes. And he's like, well, I can't let you in. Then she like walks down to start smoking a cigarette and she hears the door open and close and her pile of clothes is there. I was like, oh, Dad.
Oh. We have Archie Panjabi played Suman. Mama Virk.
She did really good.
She did too. Riley, what was it?
Keo
played Rebecca Godfrey.
Yeah, she did good.
Anoop Desai.
Desai?
Yeah. Played Raj. Uncle.
He was so good. I liked him a lot.
He was really young though. I thought he was cousin.
Yeah.
So,
honestly, same. Like he's so young that I'm pretty sure he's who played her dad in the parent flashback.
I think he was because he looked real familiar. Yes. All right. Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah,
Cool.
he did good.
All right, is the theme the same?
Absolutely.
Yep. Do the characters stay true?
There's really only one that I'm like, yeah, nope.
Dusty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everyone else was, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you prefer?
I prefer the book.
I think I do too.
Wow.
I know. But I think I would have to prefer the extra chap. Like I think that's what made it.
Yeah.
Was I liked the book better because of like, it's hard fact truth.
Mm-hmm.
But that wrap up chapter was just like,
Thank you.
I had too many questions. I needed this
you
chapter.
wrapped it up.
So I'm not sure. No, I probably still would choose it without that chapter, but that was the
Wow.
for sure.
That was the cherry on top.
Yes.
This is what I wanted I'll Be Gone in the Dark to be.
Mm-hmm.
I ate this book up so fast. I really thought I was going to take my sweet ass time reading it because I started it way before we even needed to be starting it. And I was like, you've got time. You can take your time.
Uh-huh.
And the next thing I knew, I was done with it. I was like, oh. Damn.
It was good.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it to a friend?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. Couldn't stop thinking about it for days. I would recommend it.
Wow.
I know. It was
This is impressive.
It was like, okay, you know how like true life event movies, like, I don't know if you were like this with the Titanic. I was like this. And then my mom said most people were like, you just leave and for days you're like, oh my gosh. And we're kind of going to touch on that again next week with Schindler's List. But like you finish it and you're just like, oh, I cannot believe that was real. And you're like in a fog thinking about it.
Now
that was
you
me.
understand my true crime obsession.
I don't know if I do. There was something special about this one. Maybe it was 4 freaking hours away. I looked up, like, I was like, where exactly? 4-hour drive, you people. We could go there.
Let's
Offscript field trip.
Hell fucking yeah. No, to me, the true crime thing, to me, it just blows my mind. Every time I hear stories or read stories, I'm like, there are people that do this shit.
I know. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Sneak peek. Our website.
Check it out.
offscript253.wixsite.com/offscript.
Easy to remember. Kind of.
Sort of.
Not really.
A lot of offscripts, a lot of Wix sites. Oh, there's one. One Wix site.
Oh no.
There you can rate, subscribe, and review to us. Rate, review, and subscribe to us.
You can do all of that.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. And you guys,
We're sponsoring the Nerd Party
we are. Our name is going to be like there, like
on their promotion. It already is.
saying, hey, guess who's going to be here? Nerd Party. Guess what? They help pay for this event.
Check out
bit.
their booth. Yeah, just a teensy bit.
But we did. And so you guys should come. That is 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. June 7th.
June 7th, come check us out. We'll do like we did last year where we set up our equipment and chat with people.
Yeah. I don't know what book we'll do yet. Gotta figure that out.
You know what's funny? Today I realized, I don't know how it slipped by, but typically at this point in time, I would have had the next seasons planned out.
Oh, wow.
But today I was looking, I was like, oh shit, I've planned it now.
Oh.
But I didn't earlier today.
That's so funny. Mm-hmm. So this Wednesday we have a mini-sode where Bri brags all about herself.
Oh yeah, it's that one. Yep, I do.
Because Bri has her own company and she's going to tell you all about it.
Brianna Daniel LLC.
Yeah.
What up?
And on Monday we have Schindler's List. Another real true story.
Yeah, this one gets real.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Another sad one. We're just throwing sad. This isn't our fault.
Boom.
You guys, this is not. Oh, Schindler's List is your
Schindler's List is my fault. But
oh, no.
when I scheduled it next to Under the Bridge, I did not realize what Under the Bridge was about.
That's
so
fair. Fair.
Even though Sierra had told me.
I know. We listen over here.
Oh
my gosh.
All right.
Right.
Oh, well, with that, Under the Bridge went off script.
Bye. Thanks for sticking with us.
We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, we would greatly appreciate it if you gave us 5 beautiful stars, reviewed, and subscribed.
You can also follow us on Facebook at Offscript, on Instagram at Offscript Podcast 21, and on TikTok at Offscript_pod.
Shout outs to Madame Ashen Creations for our adorable logo art.
And Adam Daniel for our incredible theme song.
And to Creative Cinephile Productions for producing our podcast.
See you next time.